So you bought a house. Now what? Today we're going to be going over exactly that. Every single step that you need to take for once your house is closed and it's transferred into your name and move-in days here. So before we dive into it, some of you may know me already. I may have closed a house with you. I may have helped you buy a house, but for the others who do not know me, my name is Sam Oler. I'm a realtor in the greater Cleveland area. Help a lot of people move over this way. So if you're starting to think about making the move, definitely reach out to me. But jumping right back into today's topic, which is the next steps after you close on your home, there's gonna be a lot that comes along with it. You're probably feeling super excited, maybe a little bit nervous, but there's nothing really to be nervous about. Homeownership is one of those things that's pretty passive. There are some things that you have to keep up with as far as general maintenance goes, but realistically, you are probably just gonna be able to get right into living with your house and then spend a little bit of time throughout the different seasons just maintaining the home. So the first thing on my to-do list as far as the post-closing goes is going to be secure the home. Whether you're going to put a security system on the house or if you are just changing the locks, the minimum you should do is at least reach out to a locksmith to come to the home, change the locks so that way you get a new key and you are the only one with that specific key. Now, depending on the type of deal that we negotiated, you might have a home warranty. That warranty actually does cover having a locksmith come out and rekey the house. So for 75 bucks, you can have someone come out and get that done for you. Or if you're calling someone to come out and change the locks, I'm guessing you're probably gonna land around that 150 mark or so to rekey everything. But if I were you and the doorknobs are all mismatched and not really kind of flowing with the home, I would just get new ones because you'll have the ability to make sure that they all match and look good. And then that way the keys will match as well. Now, when you're buying new doorknobs, just keep in mind that there are exterior doorknobs, interior doorknobs, and then there's closet doorknobs. So you're gonna wanna do your research and make sure you're buying all the same ones and not from different companies. I personally like Kwikset because they have a super easy rekeying process for the exterior doors. So that way you don't have to have someone come out. They have their own little key that you plug into it and then insert the specific key that you're wanting to use. And then once you repeat that process on all the door handles, they'll all match. Step number 2 for once you close on your home is going to be securing all of your important documents. Now that is going to be anything from the deed to the different closing documents that you signed during your closing. All of those documents that were signed during the closing process are not going to be used very often, so you can tuck them away in either a fire safe or if you have something that you can store them in as far as long-term goes. But the reason that you want to keep these is one, for just documentational purposes, but if anything happens or you have to go look back and see what type of insurance coverage you have all of that readily available to you. So that way you don't have to call an insurance agent or a lender to get that info. If you got that home warranty, this is also where you're probably going to have all your information on it. So if something breaks, you'll have it easily accessible so you can give the company a call and get that handled. But like I said, you're probably not going to be looking at this very often, so you can tuck it away in a closet. Number 3 on the to-do list is going to be make sure that you have all of your utilities set up. Now, before the closing even happened, you probably reached out to the utility companies for gas and electric and Wi-Fi to have all of those turned on and in your name on the day that you move in. However, Cleveland Water is kind of weird as far as scheduling it goes, so the title has to transfer into your name before you can get that utility switched over to you. So within the first week of closing, you're gonna have to give them a call to make that happen. During this time, you're gonna wanna make sure that the transfer happened for the gas, electric, and the Wi-Fi, so that way there are no mistakes or unknowns that you could potentially be walking into. And it's rare for those to happen, but it is worth the double check. Once all of that is complete, you can move into number 4 on the to-do list, which is going to be do a quick inspection on your home. I know we did a final walkthrough and we also did an inspection during the buying process, but this is the first step in making sure that you know what to keep up with as far as your maintenance goes. Chances are the inspector has already given you a list of things to do that you need to keep up with over time, just so that the house's condition doesn't deteriorate. But this is the time that you are going to want to get all of those inspection items that were marked red or yellow taken care of. That way you have less of a headache down the road once you're fully moved in and totally unpacked and everything. It's always easiest to knock out any fixes before you're completely moved in. Any of those fixes that are necessary that popped up on your inspection report can include anything from exterior maintenance, like making sure all of the caulked areas or rubber boots on the roof are in good condition, so that way you're not dealing with leaks down the line when you least expect them. It could include anything on the interior, from clogged pipes, to missing GFCI outlets. You'll want to make sure that the furnace has a new air filter in it so that way you're breathing clean air. Sometimes you'll want to get your ducts cleaned or maybe a chimney cleaned. Just make sure you take the time to walk through the house to make sure all of that gets handled. Step number 6 on the list is going to be go out, meet your neighbors, make some new friends, because these are the people that you're going to be living around for a really long time, and having that good relationship can come in handy more often than you think. They'll be able to give you the ins and outs of the community. They'll be able to help you with things that you probably didn't even think of while you were walking through the house, since you've spent such little time in it and they have the experience. And the other thing is, you might just find them on your front porch knocking on your door, introducing themselves. Sometimes you get a free meal out of it, which is always a plus, but don't expect it. But do yourself a favor and go meet those neighbors. Number 7 on the list, make sure you do a review of your insurance and make any updates that are necessary. You probably already interviewed a couple different companies to get the lowest price, but I've seen it before where companies will randomly just drop insurance without telling you early on in the process. So that is one of those things that is worth keeping an eye on as you own the home, because if you get dropped on insurance and something bad happens, you are not going to be covered, which in turn could be a huge financial mistake. So make sure you are consistently covered. Like I said, it's rare that anything gets dropped, but I actually just had it happen to me on one of my houses, and they sent the notice to the wrong address. And the reason they dropped the insurance on me was because they said the house's roof did not have enough grains left on it, so they wouldn't insure it at all, and they won't reinsure it until I replace it. But I was able to go out and find another insurance company to do an inspection on the roof and give me a quote, and they said the roof was totally fine. So that temporary timeline where the house wasn't covered, if something would have happened to it, I would have been out of pocket making those fixes, and it would have been a horrible scenario. But luckily I was consistently checking in on my insurance and making sure everything was covered, and I was able to fix that relatively quickly. Number 8 on the list is plan for emergencies. Now this kind of goes with the insurance, where it's probably not going to happen, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Know where all of your water shutoffs are, know where your gas shutoff is, know which breaker to shut off if you have to turn off your electric for whatever reason. Those are super important things that we probably went over during the inspection period, but it's just a good idea to do a quick review so you know where those are. And then you're also going to want to assemble a basic toolkit just for any easy maintenance on your home in case you don't already have tools. You're going to want a first aid kit. And then the other thing that is extremely important is going to be having a fire extinguisher. I keep one in my garage, and then I also keep one under my kitchen sink, just so I have quick access to one if we ever need it. Now, thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't needed it for my personal home, but there was a flip that we were working on, and we were burning away weeds during the summertime in the garden, and a big gust of wind hit and it went straight into one of the trees, and the tree actually caught on fire. Burning the weeds is something that we had done a million times before and never had an issue, but that one particular instance that just randomly happened almost caused the whole garden to catch on fire because the trees were so close together and it was so dry out. But we had the fire extinguisher, we were able to put it out in a relatively decent amount of time, so we were ready for it. But make sure you review the instructions as well before you put it in storage, because trying to figure out how to use a fire extinguisher in the heat of the moment can sometimes be a little bit intimidating. Number 9 on the list of things to do is to personalize your space. Now this is where it gets fun as a homeowner, because you can turn this house into a true home and really make it your own. So if you know me, or if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of getting the house that needs paint and flooring, because those are the two easiest things that you can do to add equity to your home, and it's something that you can DIY or hire out for relatively cheap, and it completely transforms the feeling of the home. Now, a pro tip, if you're trying to pick out paint, definitely go to Pinterest and look for ideas as far as colors that you may like, because if you're just picking off of a wall of thousands of different colors, it's going to be extremely hard to pick one that is actually going to look good. And I've done it before, where I have tried to pick off of the wall and then absolutely hated the color once it's all painted. And then every single time that I've picked a color off of Pinterest, I've absolutely loved how it turned out, because someone had already done it and it has been repeatable. So that's just a little bit of a pro tip from someone who's not extremely creative with picking colors and color theory and everything that comes along with that. But if your house is pretty much all ready to move into, all you're doing is putting stuff away and organizing, and then also hanging decor or buying new furniture to make it feel like your own. So no matter what position that you're in, you're probably going to have some sort of personalization to do to the home. Number 10 on the list is to budget for future maintenance on your home. So start setting aside about $100 a month, and that way if something does come up to where you have to have a plumber come in and replace a leaky water line or maybe a clogged pipe, you'll at least have some money sitting around after 6 months or so that way you could put towards the maintenance of your home. If you have an older roof on your home, definitely keep that in mind as well, because you might need to set a little bit more aside. If your roof's scheduled to be replaced within the next 5 years, you're probably going to have a $15,000 bill coming your way. So having that already saved up is a lot better than having that 5-year mark hit and then you have nothing ready to go and then you're panicking because you're strapped for cash. Now, there's not really a downside to putting money aside every month, because if nothing happens and you have all the money there, great. You can either stop contributing towards it after you reach a certain threshold, or you can keep contributing money towards it, and then that way it acts as almost a second insurance in case there are multiple things that go wrong at once. Maybe you have to replace your furnace, your hot water tank, and your AC all at the same time. That's going to be a pretty big bill as well. But your inspection should have given you a pretty good idea as far as what to expect once you were moving into it. Another thing that a lot of people forget when they're moving into a home is that every 3 to 5 years, you're going to get reassessed for your value. So your taxes are more than likely going to go up over time. And that can change your monthly mortgage payment, even if you're on a 30-year fixed mortgage, because when you bought the house, the taxes are going to be lower than in the future. So you have to adjust for it. Otherwise, you'll be paying that difference out of pocket if they were to not change anything. Very last, at number 11 on our list, is going to be updating your address anywhere that you may have to do so. And that's going to be on your government IDs. You're probably going to have to update that on your Amazon or wherever online platforms that you may be buying from. You're going to have to update it on your credit cards. Your employers are going to need to know that you moved so they can send you all of your tax documents. And then there's probably some other relevant institutions in your life that are going to need to know you moved as well. The other thing that you can do on top of that for some added security is just going to be having USPS forward your mail that you have to your home. That way, in case something is mailed to the old place that you lived, you are still going to have access to it when it comes to the new place. So that's a really convenient service that they offer. And it also will let you know if you need to change anything that you potentially missed, because they're going to have a big old stamp on the front of the letter that says forwarded. So that's a little bit of a hack as well if you're forgetful like myself. Now, there are some yearly maintenance things that you need to do to keep up with your house, and I'm going to go through these kind of fast, but keeping up with that maintenance on your home is going to make it last a lot longer than if things were to go wrong and you fix them as they went wrong. Being preventative is really the best thing you can do. So every fall, you're going to do a few different things. First on the list is going to be inspect the gutters. You're going to want to make sure all leaves and debris are free from the gutters, because it can cause ice dams, which will essentially back up water into your house under your roof and cause water damage and potentially structure damage in the future if you don't keep up with it. So you're going to want to check your roof and chimney, look for loose shingles, damaged flashing, cracked caulk, and clean and inspect the chimney if you use your fireplace. You're going to want to go through and seal any gaps and cracks. You'll find those where different points meet, such as like your siding meeting your doors, your windows meeting the siding, any exterior wood features. Just go around the house and make sure that there is no entry point to the inside of the walls from the exterior. Another thing you're going to want to do is service the HVAC system. You're going to replace all of your air filters, and this should be done every 3 months or so. If you have bad allergies, do it every single month. In the fall, you can have your furnace cleaned and inspected just to make sure everything's working properly, because winter's coming up. You don't want your furnace to go out when it's freezing outside. It's a lot easier to do when it's warmer. Another thing that you're going to want to do in the fall is keep up with your lawn care. You're going to rake leaves, fertilize your lawn, aerate the soil, and that's all going to promote healthy growing for the next spring. And then you're also going to want to winterize your outdoor faucets, so that way nothing freezes in there and they all stay in good working condition. Once winter hits, you're going to want to monitor the snow and ice. Make sure that the ice is not damming on your roof, and if it is, you might have to wait until spring or a clear day to get up there and put a heater wire in. A lot of the time that will fix your problem of any sort of water intrusion on your home, so that way the ice does not build up there. If your home's not super efficient, you can add insulation in your attic during this time. During the winter, you're also going to want to test your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. And the other thing is, if you're bad about having dry air and it causes bloody noses, you're going to want to keep up with the humidity, so you can add humidifiers either to your furnace itself or into each individual room. But adding it to the furnace is going to be the easiest. Some houses will already come equipped with it. During the springtime, this is when you'll find out exactly how efficient your house is during the winter. So you're going to want to go outside, inspect the roof and the gutters just to check for any sort of damages done to the home from any sort of ice damming that we talked about previously. You're going to want to go in and clean the gutters and downspouts again. If you're going to, this is the time to service the AC unit, because you're going to be using it during the summertime. So you'll take it apart and get like this foam spray that you spray on the unit itself, and that'll get rid of any of the dirt or anything anything clogging it up, so that way it operates more efficiently. During the springtime, you will also look at the foundation of your home just to make sure there's no cracks or anything, and then seal those as necessary. You're going to do all of your yard cleanup, because if you've got trees on the property, chances are you're not going to be able to pick up any sticks or anything that have fallen during the winter time, because you can't see them because they're covered in snow. And then you're also going to be prepping your garden beds if that's something that you're interested in during this time. And then finally, this is when you'll be turning on your outdoor faucets and testing to make sure that nothing was ruined during the winter time. Over the summer, you get to relax a little bit more, but during this time, you'll do different little things like make sure that the window screens are kept up with, so that way there's no tears and you can open the windows if you want without any bugs getting inside. You're going to check all of your siding and paint. Maybe it needs pressure washed or repainted because of chipping paint. During the summer is a good time to clean your dryer vent, because that is easy to get caked up with lint and stuff. And if that's all blocked off, your dryer is not going to operate efficiently, or worse, it could potentially cause a fire. And then finally, during the summer, you're just going to want to keep an eye on your deck, your driveway, and any sort of fencing that you have to make sure that it's all in good condition. Maybe it needs repainted. Maybe you need to put some sealer on the driveway. Maybe a fence post got knocked off. Just keep up with the little things, because it's nice outside and this is the perfect time to do that kind of stuff. As far as general year-round tips, I would say to make sure to keep up with changing your furnace air filter and keeping that clean, because that's a mechanical unit that you are going to be using year-round, whether it's AC or for heat. You're going to want to monitor your energy bills, because that's something that could be a sign of inefficiency, or maybe a warning that something's about to go out and not work properly. And then if you've got a septic tank on the property, you are going to want to make sure that the aerator is always on. So you're probably going to have some sort of septic alarm on your property that you're going to want to keep an eye on. You're going to have to flush Rid-X once a month, so that way you can keep all of the microorganisms and everything that goes along with keeping a septic tank healthy. And definitely make sure that if you've got the septic tank, that you're not flushing anything besides toilet paper, because that could lead to some very big issues further down the line if there's anything in there besides that. I've had septic in the past and I personally was fine with it, but when I got renters into that house, it kind of went downhill because they did not care for it like I did. So that's just a pro tip as well. Now, I hope this video was helpful in a sense that you're feeling a little more ready as a homeowner to take on the different tasks that are necessary. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available through text, or if you call me and I miss it, I'll call you back as soon as I can. But yeah, if you want some more of this content, definitely drop a like and subscribe, because I'm keeping you up to date with everything that's going on in the greater Cleveland area. My social media is also going to be down in the description if you want to go check that out. But with all that being said, I'm going to leave the video there. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.